Clock's ticking. We're live already. It's me, heartily ho. All right. So it's a test. We're recording. The lights flashing. Um, trying a new system. I have two cameras. I get one at Savers for $3.99, and it's a gem. It great picture. It's better than the front-facing one. Um, so you can see. Yeah. Um, yeah, there we go. Okay. So, new system. I'm testing it out. So the lesson for the day is Rupert Sheldrake. I don't like calling him lessons so much as a session. Here, we're discussing this. I'm learning something as we go along as well. So, this is. I wouldn't otherwise be talking about this except for the fact that it's a reader comment. It was a question, posed as a question. The person is a subscriber, I do believe. I've seen him before. He's from one of the Wages World crew. And first off, I want to say I do not know what is up with Wages World's his channel or himself. I do want to say keep him in your prayers. It's really important that you maintain a connection with your higher power, keep your life clean, and that way you can bring other people before God, before the Creator, and ask help for them. You know, if you're not in the lifeboat safely and securely, how are you going to help anyone? That's just the general question. So, before before the video, watching the this is a Prophets conference in Seattle talk that Mr. Rupert Sheldrake gives. It's called Beyond the Limits of the Ordinary. First off, if I haven't introduced myself, I am Verde Arbusto. This is the Schumann Resonance Harmonics channel on YouTube and Facebook. It is Thursday, I believe we're now on the 27th of August. We're rounding into the last quarter of the year. Yay! If you've survived and lived this long and not lost your head and your sanity, good on you. All right, so, I think I'm going to put tape over that light because it's really distracting. There you go. All right. All right, so, where are we at? So, before I play this here video, demo, there you go. I want to read the comment from the, there we go. All right, so, this is from Bradley Smith, 14 hours ago. So he says, really enjoy your resonances. Thank you. I'm going to heart you there because I'm calling you out live on TV. Is it then a fact that we share a collective consciousness resonating between us inside the ionosphere? So there's not a question mark there. There's a period. All right, so it's a statement. Sounds cosmic, thanks. And a smiley face, and I'm not sure what that is. Surfer guy? I'm not sure what. And then, AU, Australia? I'm not sure. Oh, I hate these. anyone knows how to get these out in the tablet version of this notices, please let me know. All right. Yeehaw! We're going surfing. So this got me thinking on a number of levels, because this is something that has come up recently. It's had it otherwise been not asking about the Schumann resonances. I think I wouldn't really necessarily touch this as an issue, but it is such a common, such a pervasive topic and subject of us affecting it rather than than us being affected by it. You know, which is coming first, the chicken or the egg, sort of thing? I'm not sure. But there's something that needs to be addressed from my perspective. Now, let me say this. I'm an emissary. I'm a way shower. I'm a reverse engineerer of society and, I don't know, technology and stuff. So I look at things analytically, technically, how they're put together, how to take them apart, how to rewire stuff, and I'm frequently looking at manuals and technical stuff. I'm looking at how-to stuff. I have said this whole video is going to be maybe more about me subjectively than the Schumann resonances per se, but this is definitely my reflection of the question that was asked about the collective consciousness. And so, before I really get into the topic at hand, I had wanted to kind of preface my comments here with what I'm saying here, and in this video with my my opinions, my views on this topic of the collective consciousness. Here, us as people able to have consciousness, not only the consciousness of us, but consciousness of ourselves as a group. This is really the topic at hand, I think. This is trying to wrap my head around this in a way that I can approach it from an empirical fashion. As I've said before in the comments, and I'll say here on this video, I get hundreds of views, which I love, on some of them. Hopefully I'll get thousands of views on this, because this is a fascinating topic. This maybe more so than the technical aspects of the Schumann resonances. I don't know. At any rate, so I am a buck stops here kind of guy. I want to know where, when I have a discussion with people, when I'm presenting information and data, I want to show the data. Where do I get my stuff from? That's what these kind of the browser dump is here. That this is what I'm reading up on, and various things that I've had discussions with people about. So not everything there in this series here of the encyclopedia of Verde, as it were. It doesn't resonate with everyone. Not everyone is getting something out of the information, but certainly I have hit some triggers, I guess, of people and their various I've targeted in or triggered responses from people on various things relative to the blood pressure, for example, and this specifically is one where he's talking about one of the references, and I'm not sure which one exactly, that I had done in one of the videos, the earlier this here video of the browser dump, and so without him referencing which particular, that's the downside of doing these, without knowing which specific which specific video it was. which link it was to the wherever, the source I'm talking about. I don't know. I'm guessing, and so here I'm specifically talking about this having been established as a fact somewhere in the video here, of what he's talking about. I'm like, I said, no, this isn't a fact. First off, fact is something by agreement. So I'm not agreeing that it is a fact, first off, here. All right, so getting into what he's talking about, he says, he asks, I think I read that, really enjoy your resonances. It's a fact that we share a collective consciousness resonating between us inside the ionosphere. Sounds cosmic. All right. So my response is, the short answer is that there's little empirical data to support this specific conclusion. I'm not sure if I understand what the collective consciousness is relative to the collective and everyone's linguistic understanding of collective consciousness as well. There should be a mark of punctuation in there to help me to make sense of this. All right, so is it then a fact, comma, that we share a collective consciousness, comma, resonating between us inside the ionosphere? I don't know. It should or should be some. I'm trying to make sense of this as is it a fact that we share a collective consciousness? Well, I don't think so. Perhaps we should. We do. We could. Yes. It is possible. The potential is there. Yes. However, but there's a big but to this. Resonating between us inside the ionosphere. There could even be another comma in there. Is it a fact that we do indeed share a collective consciousness, which resonates between us inside the ionosphere? Well, where is your consciousness resonating between us, us people, us here in the earth? Yes, I'm following you generally. What we're talking about here, and yet again, there's little empirical data to support what it is that you're talking about. First off, with a collective consciousness, we have to accept that there is a collective consciousness happening, right? And that is its own thing to prove what it is. Part of this is a linguistic trip, which is sort of one of the things that I want to get into, and I want to talk about that I can't really talk fully about in the comments, that I thought it might be more fun to do a video where I can talk about the collective consciousness and for 30-ish minutes have this discussion and talk about the comments for all of the viewers who may not be reading this particular comments. That's a thing as well. I wanted to bring this discussion into the public dialogue via the videos and have this really cool dialogue on this. And so, because it is now, this is where we're at. We're talking about frequently. I hear on YouTube and whatever, and blah blah blah. We're talking about the collective consciousness raising the Schumann and the Schumann raising blah blah and all of that. I would be generally speaking on that view as being no. Hold on. Generally speaking, I would be on that version of no. Yeah, we're green. Yeah. So because it's a hard sell to me of indeed you saying or me saying or believing that that's my pointer. To believe that we do indeed we all share this collective consciousness, what passes for collective consciousness, right? And so that's sort of one of the arguments here, the fact of no punctuation, right? I got to interpret this how it's coming at me without punctuation, piece by piece by piece, sound it out. Okay, remember? Yeah, I remember doing that in school. We had to sound it out, Scoot you around this way. Bing, bing, bing. It's this webcam has a little ball on the top, so I don't have to move it at the base. I love this. I love that. For a $4 little webcam, I had asked the universe for that, and there was hanging up. I had ID. I'll tell you really quick about the studio, how it's all set up. I had asked the universe to help me with all this stuff, and even the coffee maker. So, because I was in the right place at the right time, where I needed to be, and I had a rack in the back of my bike, I was able to find all the stuff out and about for cheap to free on the side of the road with a little work. Everything needs a little work. What I didn't outright pay for is something that'll probably need a little work, whatever, it's all, but it's the framework of it, the little speakers, and, I'm very grateful to the universe for helping me along in this project. And that's one of the ways that I know that I am cared for and that I am, seen by the greater cosmos, is by the physical stuff manifesting itself quickly, like instant, a studio, like almost overnight, like, and not really, but whatever, time is relative. So, all right, so I'm out of the camera view. There we go. All right. So he says, or I says, who all is we, is us? Can I of myself be a we? Certainly, all of those voices vying for attention in my head is a committee, and not all of me as a single unified person existing in my own head. My own headspace, my own head trip. It usually involves other people, and some of whom may be tripping me. From which logical point shall we start measuring this? Which dimension? Which density? Find me the solid fixed point from which to base my reasoning, as Descartes was looking for it when he wrote his discourses on logic, and when he was talking about Rene Descartes is the grandfather of the, what the heck you call it, the scientific method. And he basically was one of the people who talked about how you can know the secrets of nature. And so that's one of the, he talked about the scientific method. And that's one of the important, like science. If you believe in science, the scientific method is observation. There's a certain, I should bring it up. I'll find it up exactly, so you know what the scientific method is. Because when we talk about science, Rene Descartes is the one who invented calculus. So Rene Descartes is the one who said, because I doubt, dubito cogito ergo sum. So ergo sum, it's because he's saying I'm doubtful. Because I don't know what the fixed point of logic of where it should start is. So, because I'm doubtful, I question. And so in questioning, he talks about the scientific method of how to go about figuring out the basically how to conquer nature. I think that's the most simplest, easiest way to put it. So I go on, I ask, do we agree that consciousness exists outside of a body and outside of your head, or my head, or anyone's head? What is mind? What part of mind is intelligent, therefore conscious, and therefore at the atomic level of a conscious collective consciousness? Question mark. Before I can go on further answering this question, there's a logical layer of abstraction which must be removed, yet is localized to the body. Most folks going on about the kick of collective consciousness, and no offense to you, as such, much a wallow in the materiality of self, your very own self, or myself, right? The self. Okay, you, being the average human being, existing within this physical vessel, entombing the higher self, is not eligible for changing the Schumann resonances from the ground upwards, unless your higher self directs your movements. The collective consciousness we are talking about is a cesspit. The weakest link fouls up the well of collective consciousness. That is unfortunately the reality of ego mind. Self, me, mine, what I own, property, the attainment of property. What is ego? What is ego attached to? How does ego become flared up, become involved in anything? Where does ego start? Where does it end? Where do I, me, I, self. So before you can get into the collective, thinking from the collective, one needs to release self. There needs to be a releasement. I don't even know the word. It's called, in places often enough, an ego death. But you can't kill the ego. And this is one of the problems here. This is where, why, how I want to bring this up as a point of discussion, because before I really feel it's important, because this has been asked to me as a question. I'm going to address it. I have a format. I get the video camera. I have I got 8 more minutes. I can talk about ego, which I'm not going to, but I am going to simply say that pardon me, before the collective consciousness can start, one has to give up their sense of self and ownership and I, and what I own, what you own, blase, there's that discussion in and of itself, which I'm not getting into here, but I'm just saying that as part of its gig, its deal, we have to entertain that discussion of ego and logic and sense and common sense and rationalism and materialism and I can't even, it's hard to say more than that without kind of going off into that as a thing. My mind is now kind of racing in that. All right. So before, I still have time here. I came not even at the video yet. This wind up just maybe being a response to this as part A, part 1 of 2. So most people talking about the collective consciousness are still dealing with problems of self, themself, and so you, quote unquote you, being the average human being, we're talking about the collective consciousness. There's just an equation, the collective consciousness is everyone. You being the average human being existing within this physical vessel, entombing the higher self, is not eligible for changing the human resonances from the ground upward. All right. Those few rare precious souls living in the higher dimensions where we seem to perform miracles, we souls who are able to call forth the sun in a tiny little portal in the sky over our heads, like myself, we can affect the Schumann. We live in a 6th or 7th density in the same mental space that the average folks occupy in a second or third density existence. This is the short and simple answer to this query. It's actually worth a second video dedicated to the discussion. Yes, so I did give you a heads up. I would be at least making a video. So thank you, Bradley, for your comment. And this was on this particular video, which in this case, yeah, talks about the Schumann resonances. So he's the blood pressure. Does the Schumann resonance affect your blood pressure? All right. Yeah. Boom. Nice. Okay. Yep. The camera stand's working. All right. So on with the play portion. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to kind of just fade out with some music, and then I'm going to start the next video just right where we're standing here. I'm at 26 minutes. The camera on this shuts off automatically after 4 gigs, and somewhere around 30 minutes gets to be close to the size limit on the camera. So that's why I plan around the 30-minute mark. And so we're at the 26-minute mark. Yeah. All right. So part B of this, part 2, is where we start getting into Rupert Sheldrake's talk on Beyond the Limits of the Ordinary. So in the meantime, Maestro, take us out with... There you have it. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you for being here. Much love to you all. Thank you.